What's up, you guys? It's your boy E to the N to the VOR and VOR, back at it again with another chapter review of My Hero Academia Vigilantes. Today we're going to be reviewing chapter 2, and I gotta say, there is a lot of stuff happening in this chapter. But you guys, I totally forgot to mention that the three thugs, after Knuckle Duster beat them up, they got approached by a shady dude with vials in his briefcase. And why that is so important is because what he has in that briefcase pertains to what happened in this chapter. And what that man has inside that briefcase is a drug called Trigger. And what this drug does, it basically enhances your quirk, but it comes at a cost. You basically lose all reasoning. And another huge side effect is that your tongue turns black. And if you remember last chapter, the very first chapter that we read, that's why Knuckle Duster was pulling those thugs' tongues out, because he was suspecting that they were using that drug. And Knuckle Duster continues to run game on us because he tells us the reason why there's so much villain activity actually happening throughout the city is because this drug. They were keying the phrase as instant villains. And what these villains are, they basically pop up at random, and that's why the heroes and the police can't do anything about it. These attacks are basically not even planned, they're spontaneous. It could happen anywhere that you're at. You could be walking down the street, you could be going to Walmart, you could be doing anything, and these D-bags just pop the heck up and just start acting a fool. So basically Knuckle Duster's plan is basically demand any suspicious looking person to show him their tongue. And if they do not show their tongue, you already know what's gonna happen. They're gonna eat a knuckle sandwich straight to their jaw. Can we collectively say as a group that Knuckle Duster does not F around? He is about that life, and he will hit you with that two-piece if he has to. And what ends up happening next, you guys, is what he was saying he was gonna do. This man is running up on people about to punch them out. And I was looking at him like, you lucky Koichi is there to hold your ass back, because all around, your ass might be in jail soon enough. And as Knuckle Duster is chasing after these poor people, trying to punch them out, we see Pop Step, and she's giving them a look like, what are y'all doing now? And what basically happens next is Koichi and Knuckle Duster let her in on the operation, and they tell her specifically who they're looking for.
Infiltrate the dealers, find the supply.
But then Pop Step hits them like, yo, y'all need to start using your brain a little bit more. And what she means by saying that is that they're going about this situation wrong, and they need to refine their search instead of targeting these poor, random, suspicious looking people. So she pulls out her phone, and her and Koichi are looking up unknown villains and instant villains. And the reason why they're doing this is because she suspects someone must have taken a photo during each and every incident that has occurred. That's why we gotta collectively give Pop Step a round of applause for her big brain moment. But as this big brain moment is occurring, Knuckle Duster spots another suspicious looking dude with a briefcase, and he instantly starts demanding to see this dude's tongue. But our boy Koichi instantly runs in and tries to defend this dude. But in the process, he knocks the briefcase out of his hand. And guess what's in this man's briefcase, you guys? Toy dolls end up falling out of this briefcase. And Knuckle Duster's initial thought process is, this dude is suspicious and I need to pop him in his mouth. But as he's about to swing on this poor guy, get this. We get introduced to another character, and we know him all too well. Just like All Might making a small cameo in the first chapter, our boy Aizawa aka Eraserhead, shows up on the scene, and he ends up starting to accuse the gang as instant villains. And this is when all hell breaks loose.
Oh shit, here we go again.
Knuckle Duster and Aizawa instantly start going at it. They are straight up swinging for the fences. But as this is happening, Koichi starts begging the dude with the briefcase to tell Aizawa that they aren't villains. But as he's telling him this dude legit gets up and he's like, deuces, and he leaves Pop Step and Koichi stunned. As they're both trying to figure out what just happened, we get a pan out to Pop Step's phone, and it is literally showing this dude with the briefcase at every instant villain sighting. And this is when Koichi and Pop Step start their pursuit of this man before he gets away. But before they start pursuing this man, we get some more panels of Aizawa and Knuckle Duster fighting. And Eraser said something that instantly catches my attention. He states, why isn't my quirk working on this dude? Because he initially thought Knuckle Duster's quirk was durability. It's funny because I've been also wondering what Knuckle Duster's quirk is. And instead of finding out what's running through Eraser's head, the next panel shows Koichi chasing after the dude with the briefcase. And as he's chasing this guy, guess who decides to show up? The Three Stooges make yet another appearance. And this is when Bootleg Wolverine starts monologuing about revenge. And this guy goes full on psycho mode because he pulls out the vial that he got from the dude with the briefcase. And he takes Trigger right in front of us. And these three are basically ready to pounce on Koichi. But before that happens, we get a cut back to Eraser and Knuckle Duster. And Aizawa tells Knuckle Duster it was a whole misunderstanding and apologizes to him. And he basically tells him there was no improper quirk usage. But as you can see in the text, they put it in bold. And this is when we find out Knuckle Duster is quirkless. Hence why Eraser's quirk didn't affect him. And this made me look at Knuckle Duster in a whole new light. And I have a new profound respect for him because this man is out here holding his own with people who have quirks. And that's why I gotta say, this dude is the epitome of a badass, hands down. So as their fight came to an end, more chaos is ensuing. Koichi is literally gliding for his life as these three are legit chasing after him. They end up cornering our boy and it looks like it's the end of the line for him. But Knuckle Duster proves again how much of a hitter he really is, because he swoops up right behind the dude that looks like an ogre and he hits this man with a freaking brick. No cap. That in itself had me cracking up for a cool minute, mainly because I know that he's quirkless and he's out here using unconventional moves to take out his opponents. Shout out to Knuckle Duster. It's like they say, you gotta do what you gotta do. As Knuckle Duster knocks out Shrek, Aizawa takes it upon himself to take out Bootleg Wolverine. So with these two obstacles out of the way, they go on the pursuit of the dude with the briefcase. When I was reading this the first time, I was wondering where in the hell Popstep went, but Koichi points out that she went ahead of them. And as it cuts to Popstep, you see the lizard flying behind her as well. And what ends up happening is this dude knocks her right into the guy with the briefcase, and his dolls end up falling out of the case. And this is when this guy's true colors start showing. Just the look in his face, his whole persona changed. He looks more devious, and what he does next left me shook. This man took the head off of one of his dolls, and he reveals these dolls were holding the drug Trigger all along. He proceeds to inject himself with this drug, and I honestly thought this couldn't get any worse. This man literally becomes a huge ass monster and ends up taking Popstep and the lizard dude hostage, but for some reason he starts playing with them as if they were toys. I don't know if this is a side effect of the drug, but it still looked creepy as hell. As this guy is using them as his playthings, this guy lets his guard down, And that's when our boy Knuckle Duster comes in, swinging in like Spider-Man, and he ends up kicking this behemoth straight in the face, and in the process setting Popstep free. But it comes at a cost, cause this monster ends up swatting Knuckle Duster straight out of the air. So Knuckle Duster is literally out of commission. He's laying on the ground out cold, and Koichi ends up noticing Popstep is falling down fast. This is when we find out she can't activate her quirk mid-air. So Koichi has to move quick and has to think fast. And this is where we see him finally admit he actually wants to be a hero. And that basically is his reason why he followed Knuckle Duster on this operation. I generally like how he's finally keeping it real with himself, because if you really want to be a hero, it shouldn't be heavily reliant on your flashy quirk. It should be deemed by your characteristics. Hence why I have respect for Knuckle Duster, because he's out here fighting even though he's quirkless. So Koichi ends up using his quirk and is literally gliding up a freaking building. So he's building up momentum, and what he ends up doing is propelling himself towards Popstep so he could catch her. Man, I gotta say, our boy wanted to fly, so he flew. But in the process of him trying to catch this chick, she used our boy as a freaking springboard to activate her quirk. And in her doing that, it set him plummeting to the ground. And it made me look at Popstep like, what in the world did you do that for? She literally would have fell into his arms, but she ended up saving herself. So our boy is literally falling to the ground and he's about to hit. And for insult to injury, this monster is still around. So he ends up taking a swing on him as well. But Koichi is smart. He uses this as an advantage. He ends up activating his quirk on the dude's palm of his hand. So he's basically able to change the direction he's falling. And instead of hitting the ground and busting his ass, he busts a Knuckle Duster and lands in the trash bags. But it is not over yet. This behemoth still tries to land another shot while he's laying on the trash bags. But guess who shows up? Our boy Eraser, and he ends up taking out this villain when he activates his quirk, and he ends up binding him up, and that's the end of the story with him. So as the story concludes, Knuckle Duster, Popstep, and Koichi reunite in that alleyway. He ends up telling Koichi he did a real good job. Even with all this chaotic stuff that went down, I'm glad the gang made it out relatively unscathed. And I like what Knuckle Duster tells Koichi to basically admit to himself wholeheartedly that he wants to be a hero. Because what he did today was real heroism, real talk. And right there is the end of this chapter. All you see is them basically going off into the night. And that little panel looks badass, hands down. If you guys love this chapter review, and if you guys haven't even checked out this manga, I definitely recommend checking it out. This chapter was definitely A1 and was not a disappointment, hands down. More content dropping soon, so stay tuned by hitting the subscribe button, hit the notification bell, and join the fam.